Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, continuing on, of course, with the Batman review marathon, and now we've come back to the realm of animation of Batman, and literally a year after the last, excuse me, at the time, the last live-action Batman film, Batman Robin, that had Mr. Freeze, a year after that, we would have, a new animated Batman film with Mr. Freeze. And that being, of course, Batman SubZero. Mr. Freeze, Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero. That's how it's titled. So, yeah, Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero, it's actually not that bad. And, as I mentioned in my review of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, I had a DVD that had both Mask of the Phantasm and SubZero. So, and I watched both of them, and yeah, SubZero is actually pretty good, because it really does well with Mr. Freeze. And Mr. Freeze, being voiced by the late, great Michael Ansara, he was, most notably, he was best known for, say, his role in Star Trek as Klingon Commander Kang in the original series, and he would appear a couple of other times, during the Star Trek shows of the 24th century, most notably Deep Space Nine. And I remember he made a cameo in an episode of Star Trek Voyager, flashback, with special guest George Takei Sulu, Captain Sulu, the USS Excelsior. And Michael Ansara was also known for being married to What's-Her-Face, who was Jeannie in I Dream of Jeannie. So he was the husband of her. Anyways, and his role as Mr. Freeze, I could tell, because he does an outstanding performance voicing Mr. Freeze. Of course, in the Batman animated series. So, and of course, Kevin Conroy, of course, voicing Batman / Bruce Wayne, and Lauren Lester as the voice of Dick Grayson / Robin. I don't remember seeing Lauren Lester, say, in a couple of episodes of the Nickelodeon show Victorious. He was a doctor, so I remember that. And also, of course, Bob Hastings, if I'm saying the last name right, voicing Commissioner James Gordon, I should say, and Efren Zimbalist Jr., I hope I said the last name right, voicing Alfred Pennyworth, and also another character, Dean R. Brzezinski, maybe that's how you say the last name, I don't know, I can't remember, voiced by the late, great, legendary Dean Jones, and he's a Disney legend as well. Also, Barbara Gordon / Batgirl, voiced by the late, great, legendary voice actress Mary Kay Bergman. For a while, she was the voice of Barbara Gordon / Batgirl, and the original voice of Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Because this is almost set around and almost entirely on Barbara Gordon. For one thing, because, Mr. Freeze, as we all know, him trying to find a cure for his wife, and he's got 2 polar bears with him, and he's got, I wouldn't say adoptive son, because according to the kid named Kunak, I think, that's probably how you say that name, voiced by Rai Azizi? I don't think I'm saying the full name right, but according to the kid character Kunak, his parents were dead, had died, and Mr. Freeze takes care of him. So I don't know, maybe he's a kind of Mr. Freeze's adoptive son, or I really don't know, but but anyways, and also. Somebody else that Mr. Freeze has working for, he has somebody working for him, and to help cure his wife, and that, of course, being Dr. Gregory. It's not showing the full name, but voiced by George Dzunsta. Maybe, I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, but bear with me. But, Dr. Gregory, he's, Mr. Freeze has him, trying to help, cure his wife and find blood to, a type of blood to, I guess, help, his wife, and Barbara Gordon happens to be the one. And, I remember that scene where while Barbara and Dick, they're out on a date, I guess, at a dance party or whatever it is, and Mr. Freeze, breaks in, and with his polar bears, and which one of you is Barbara Gordon? And Barbara Gordon, gives herself to Mr. Freeze, Dick Grayson trying to save Barbara. And there was only one time in this animated film where we saw Barbara Gordon in action as Batgirl. That was it. The rest of the film, it's just Barbara Gordon herself. Of course, not being in her Batgirl suit, having her action moments and such, and, Batman and Robin going after where Mr. Freeze is hiding. It's like this base, out in the ocean, I want to say, yeah, and even at one point, because yeah, early on in the film when Mr. Freeze was, he seemed like he was doing okay, he wasn't in his suit, and when a submarine is in the water, it rises up and it breaks the ice and causing disaster to happen, Mr. Freeze's wife's tank breaks, and yeah, and that, of course, just really pisses off Mr. Freeze, and he freezes the entire crew of the submarine, and that's when Victor Freeze goes on a rampage and, is, alternate ego, Mr. Freeze, and, because when you look at, say, Victor Freeze not in his suit and not with those, red eyes glowing, goggles or whatever, when you see Victor Freeze as just as, without, the suit and everything else, he seems like a simple and, nice guy, you know what I'm saying, who's had a depressing life, and after what happened to him, falling in and the temperature, because of, being cold and such, you know what I mean? And with his sick wife, man. And when he has the suit and such, he's evil. He looks so evil, But that's when, near the end of the film, and Mr. Freeze is a little bit, I don't know if I want to say the word redeem, but just he does help out. And at one point, Mr. Freeze is almost about to fall into the ocean, I want to say, and Batman trying to save Victor Freeze. And also the character of Dr. Gregory, his demise, I think I said that right, he escapes in a boat, and at one point, something as the base, that Mr. Freeze was hiding on out in the ocean, part of it breaks, and it lands right on top of Dr. Gregory, killing him instantly, so Gregory, because, but anyways, and the epilogue, well, of course, Batman, Robin, they get out of there, and of course, they save Barbara, they save, the kid, Kunak, and of course, Victor's wife. And the epilogue is when, of course, the polar bears did save, Mr. Freeze. I know that those polar bears have names, but, I don't, it's not showing on the tablet, and I can't remember. But yeah, the polar bears do save Victor, and the epilogue is when, at one point, Victor is wearing, has a casket, he's with a cane, you have on your arm and such, you know what I mean, and he, walks up to, somebody's, house, I don't know, but it's out in the Arctic, I want to say, so I think it's, a base, or, this house, or just something, and, he sees through the window on TV, the news, on the news, that apparently, Victor's wife, I forget Victor Freeze's wife's name, I'm really sorry, but, that apparently it seems that she's been cured, she's better now, and, yeah, and, Victor with one tear rolling down, just so happy to see that she's doing okay, and then him and his polar bears just walk off, what's to happen next, that's just kind of where it ends off, but, so Batman and Mr. Freeze SubZero, yeah, it's actually a pretty good Batman animated movie, maybe, I don't know, close to, right next to, say, Mask of the Phantasm, and, let's face it, I no hard feelings on the two, on Batman, Robin, and how how that film tried its best. To be 100% honest, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero did a whole lot better for the character of Mr. Freeze, unlike what happened with Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin. And just, again, no hard feelings on Batman and Robin, as I just said. I know the fact that Batman and Robin that movie tried its best, and so did Joel Schumacher. Okay, so, you know. Anyways, but and how do I rate Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero? Well, I give it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good Batman animated movie, and with Mr. Freeze and Barbara Gordon, I could go on. Just, yeah. But anyways, so, and you guys let me know what you think of Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero and what you thought of my review. Leave comments as always, and of course, give this review a like as always too. So again, 8 out of 10 stars for Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, more reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And of course, the Batman review marathon is still continuing. And, yep. So you probably might know what's next, because we are returning back to the realm, of course, of live action. And, yep, we all know what's next. Stay tuned for when we dive into the Dark Knight trilogy, starting with Batman Begins. Take care, and peace out.